Everyone knows I love the art collectible space. I love it. It's changed my life in some ways. Look at me on this channel. I love the pieces. I love the people. I love the art. I love the community. I love the artists. I love it all. But let us not kid ourselves. This space is wildly unforgiving for new collectors. And that needs to change. And I will detail exactly how and why that needs to happen. Listen, my transition into this space from the sports card world has been seamless. It's been enjoyable. I've loved every second of it. I've spent a ton of money. I've met great people, as I said. It's been nothing but amazing. But I don't think that experience is the same for everyone. In fact, I know it's not. I know it's not. This channel has actually afforded me the opportunity to hear the perspectives of old-time collectors, some people who have been in from day one, shout out Shane, and some individuals who have been here for literally one day. And those are very different perspectives. But what's key is we can't fool ourselves into believing a particular narrative about the ease or simplicity of entering this. We can't fool ourselves into believing that because the community is great, and it is, that everyone has a great experience. Or more importantly, how they get that experience. How difficult is it for them to achieve that certain state of heavenly bliss that I have found in this space? And it comes down to a few key points, and all are equally as relevant, and all serve as certain barriers to entry into the space that have to be removed. And it's going to take a significant effort, and sometimes a very small effort, from the part of artists and collectors alike. So let's start from the start. As a sports card collector, investor, or whatever you might have called me in the past, and whether you were in the sports card market as an investor, flipper, collector, or some combination of all three, you had endless resources of which to work and reference. That is not the case here. In fact, when I got into this community, I consider myself a fairly educated individual. I wanted to learn about it. So I went to do research, and I searched the internet, and I searched YouTube, and I searched eBay, and I searched all around, not only to find price points, but information. And there isn't much out there. No one's going to dispute that. There isn't a lot of content out there in this space to guide collectors or give them perspective. It's not there. My best source of that to date has been through collectors themselves. And when I talk to them, one, I have to find them. How do you find them? Well, you've got to find your way into Instagram. You have to find out who's who in the zoo. You have to find your way into Discord. You have to get invited. You have to position yourself in the appropriate place, and then you have to start or engage these conversations. And of course, a number of people in the community are so great, they might find you. But let's pretend for a moment I'm highly introverted and I'm not reaching out. Is information falling into my lap? Can I just privately, in the comfort of my own home, as an introvert, research? No, I certainly can't. But let's say I did. Let's say it fell into my lap and I overcame that first barrier to entry. And I say, okay, now I want to learn about the different variations. What's more valuable? And then you might hear, well, art's subjective. It's in the eye of the beholder. Some people like twill more than alpha. I haven't met that person. Come on, that person doesn't even exist. But let's pretend they do. Twill over alpha, what's the difference? I don't know. I don't need to get to dollars and cents, but there's a difference. All these pieces are one of one, and we all have our preferences of variations. But there is a clear delineation and difference and variance between variant 1 and variant 2. When compared monetarily, they're not in the same ballpark. But how does a new collector know that? How do they even know what the variations are? They don't. Now, different artists have gone to different degrees and put different levels of effort into describing what the variations are. Some have it listed on the website. Some have it listed on the back of the piece itself. Some people have put different levels of effort. And I understand that this is a highly innovative space where variations may change from drop to drop. They do, in fact. And that is hard to keep up with. And I understand and appreciate that there is some mystery involved in the variations. And you don't want to fully disclose everything because you want some Easter eggs and you want the hunt and you want the mystery. I get all of that. But wouldn't we all benefit from some baseline set of knowledge? Now, shout out Cherub Cards who recognized that and put out some little fact sheet on the different variations. Is it enough? No. No, it's not. And that's no disrespect to Cherub Cards. That's an amazing reference. Helped me tremendously. I'm sure it helped a lot of other people. It describes the variations. But if alpha is king, which he says and I agree with, and diamond is the queen, and then you have PMGs, which I got to tell you, people are like, what does PMG stand for? What are the PMGs? Is platinum record a PMG or not? Is it only the precious stones and metals and gems? I don't know. I do, kind of. I have my interpretation of it, and I think I'm right. But I don't know if someone else agrees with me. And that's part of the challenge, too. What is what? Now, a lot of this is collector created, right? This whole notion, these acronyms are all collector created. I haven't heard really any authoritative source come out from Piggybanx or otherwise and say, this is a PMG. No, they have specialty variations, and that includes these 20. It's hard to keep up, though, because now we have transparency, and we have phantom, and we have duality, and we have crystal. All these things popping out. You're not going to find that anywhere on the website. What are case Hitmen variations? Well, if you follow his videos closely, you get a general sense of what they are drop to drop. You don't know. What are glue traps variations? No clue. This guy's printing on cash. That's amazing. I don't know what the variations are. Kicks? Don't know. Wegs? Don't know. I don't know any of it. And that's a problem. That is a problem for the community. I implore artists to think about how to solve this. I don't think this is a collector problem. I think it's an artist problem. In the sports card market, if I buy a Topps product or Panini product, on the back of the box, I get my odds. I get a breakdown of the products. I get a breakdown and overview of what's going on. And then a collector has put together some checklists. Even in some instances, the manufacturer puts out checklists, and I understand what's what. When I open a piece as a new collector, sometimes new collectors don't know what it is. They look at the variation, they say, okay, I got crystal. Is that good? Well, it's good if you like it, if you're a collector. What if you're an investor? What if you're a flipper? Ugh. Come on. Flipper's not allowed. But what if you're a flipper? What are you holding? Is it valuable? That takes us to the next step. Is it valuable? Okay, let's get into the negotiation. Listen, I have certifications from Harvard Business School on negotiation mastery. I used to work at the FBI. I have a master's in intelligence. I know how to negotiate. In fact, I'm formally trained on it. But how do you negotiate in this art market? How do you negotiate in this world? Because it takes two to negotiate. You have what you call a ZOPA, if you're getting technical, a zone of possible agreement between where the buyer wants to be and where the seller wants to be. And if it land in both people's ZOPA range, that makes for a good negotiation, likely a successful one that ends in a sale. Here's the problem. In the sports card market, you have infinite resources and tools seemingly by the day to reference sales points, rarity, variations, etc. In this market, largely, you're taking the word of the seller, who's going to say, well, this canvas piece was hand-stitched by Piggybanx's great aunts during World War I. That doesn't sound right, but maybe. I don't know. I wasn't around. And it sold for $9,000 back in World War I. There's no record of it on eBay or anywhere else. That's what it sold for. And the economy, Kurt, wouldn't you agree, is better today than it was in World War I? Yeah, probably. I haven't looked up the economic data recently, but I'll take your word for it. Sure, it's better now. So now it's worth more than $9,000, probably exponentially more. And the OGs, in some degree, across all artists, want to hold the line on value, as they should. So this is what it's worth. This is what it's sold for. A new collector, like, I have no idea if that's what it's sold for. I'm looking on eBay, past sales, I can't find it. I look on Card Ladder, can't find it. Even if I do find a similar piece, it's a different variation. I'm going to hear a story about why this variation is more unique. And then I'm going to go to do my research on that variation. And guess what? I'm not going to find it. So what do? I either have the $9 million asking price to buy this piece I want, or I don't. But I have zero negotiation leverage. Now think about that. Now think about it for a second. And you think about it as a new collector, what negotiation leverage do you have against someone who has been in the community for 2 years, who's holding firm on a certain price? You have none. You have no data points. You have no knowledge. You have no inside intel. You have nothing. How do you win that? You don't. You either pay the price or you don't get the piece. Now, if you think about scalability in a market, does that lend itself to exponential growth? Absolutely not. Can you grow? Of course you can. But you're going to grow in a certain way with certain collectors or certain flippers or certain investors, and you're going to leave everybody else behind. We have to solve that problem. Now, this channel is going to do its part to solve it. And you can expect future videos to have different explanations of variations for different artists. That's coming. I still implore artists to do what they can. Put a checklist in with your piece. Put a little explanation of their variation. You could go the extra mile here and help out a lot, even if it's just a description of that single variation or whatever the case might be. I'll try to clean up from there. But you know what else is crazy in this space? Cash has no value. Not no value, has little value. The sports card market, cash is king. Everyone wants cash. You trade for fun. You offer cash for a piece, you win the day. In this world, no, I don't know. Maybe everyone's a millionaire in this space. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. All I come in with as a new collector, and what new collectors come in with, are cash. You have no pieces. You have no equity in pieces. It's all cash. Hey, you want cash for your piece? Nope. The OGs, it seems, a lot of the OGs, cash is less valuable. What do they want? They want pieces. And what do they have? They have the best pieces. In order to get a best piece, you need a good piece that they want. That's hard. That's hard to break into. If you're going to pay cash, you're going to pay a premium. I'm in bizarro world. You have to pay a premium if you're paying cash? Yes. That's what I've seen. Again, there are exceptions to every rule. Again, don't yell at me because you've sold me a piece for cash. Of course you're out there. You exist. But a lot of collectors want pieces. That's fine. So now what do I do as a new collector? Do I go chase pieces I don't want just to trade them? That's what most people do. I don't. I've only been chirping for episode after episode. That's not my approach. Is my approach flawed? Probably. I don't know. I struggle with it every day. Do I get a piece I don't want to trade it because the piece has more value than my cash? I don't know. Is that what I would guide a new collector to do? Maybe. Yeah, probably. Get a piece. If you get a piece for retail, you're in a better position than if you had that same amount in cash. That's a fact. Can't dispute it. That's a fact. So that's the world we're in. You need pieces to get pieces, or you need a lot of cash to get a piece in the absence of another piece to trade for it. It's wild. It's wild. How do you reach growth under those circumstances, especially when you can't just go out and buy a piece? If you said in the sports card market, you need a card to trade for a card, I'll go to any one of 1,472 tables at my local sports card show, and I'll buy a card. And I'll walk to the next table and I'll trade it card for card. In this space, you have to hit a drop. Case Hitmen, you got to be one within the first second to get it. Piggybanx, you have to be blessed by equal or blessed by the studio. In kicks, you've got to speak your piece and tell them justify why you want that piece, which, by the way, storytellers always win the day. That's why also negotiation is harder for new collectors. Stories win the day. The better storyteller you are, the better chance you have getting a kicks piece. I guess. I don't know. I love kicks. Better storytellers win negotiations. You tell the story again. Piggybanx great grandma in World War I, weaving out this canvas piece. I don't know how she did it. Kudos to her. It came out beautiful. Who needs a new printer when you've got Grandma Piggy stitching out these brilliant masterpieces? Kudos. But how do you win? The new collectors have no stories. The OGs have all the stories. It's craziness. Here's the bottom line. CAA is going to do more than artist spotlights and collector's vault and me just randomly talking to you and lecturing you on topics of my choosing, although that will continue. But we're going to establish resources for collectors and investors. By default, it might help some flippers. Shame on you. But we're going to provide some resources. Despite that, though, there's only one thing that's really going to propel this market to the next leg. And that's innovation. And I don't mean the type of innovation of new variants, of new labels, of new cases, or new packaging. No, all that's great. I love it. I'll take it all day as a collector. We all love it. We're all here for it. We applaud it. We appreciate it. That's not going to get it done. What's going to get it done is innovation in the way of removing barriers of entry for new customers and new collectors. Those barriers of entry are real. And this is something collectors cannot solve. This is something that the artists have to solve. And I have ideas. Like I said, I'm an educated guy, but I'm not here to float my random ideas on the internet. No. Artists have their own ideas. They have their own strategies. They have their own path to growth. It's important. But like any business, you have a standard S-curve. You have a period of investment and accelerating growth and then plateau or decline. And the only way to overcome that inevitable top of the S is to continue to reinvent yourself. And I recommend the reinvention be, for those that are interested, something to remove or reduce the barrier to entry for new collectors. There are ways to do it. In the meantime, continue pumping out amazing artwork. Collectors, continue doing what you're doing. Be mindful. Be mindful of the imbalance in negotiation. Be mindful of what resources new collectors don't have when you're working with them, and continue being excellent stewards of the community and advocates of the artists and great trade partners and great people. Thank you all. Appreciate your time as always. Out on this end. Until next time, stay sharp, chase smart.